So, we're gonna be rolling some fenders today. All you're gonna need is a heat gun, which I'm borrowing, a fender roller, which I'm borrowing, and that's kind of it. Just general tools on taking the wheel off and putting the wheel on. And I mean, I took my brake caliper off on one side, but I doubt you're gonna need to do that. So, the plan is use the gun to heat, go nice and slow back and forth, and use the roller to roll that fender to bend those tabs back. And I'm a little worried about the tabs because it might warp the metal, but we'll see. And yeah, just go slow. Let's do it. Put new fenders on because the other ones are trash. Look at these things. Nasty stuff. Just old spec Miata fenders you just beat up. So, put these guys on. Let's roll these fenders. I'm gonna try to make this work. I've never used or even seen this fender roller before. I'm just borrowing it from a buddy of mine, and it seems like it will work. It's just gonna be jank. I think I have to take the pin out and kind of use it freehand style. You can see this. It's kind of like no pin, freehand style, just up and around. But I think we'll make it work. I mean, it's better than a baseball bat, so we'll see how it goes. I got the heat gun here. I'm gonna heat up the paint to try not to ruin the paint. Although, I mean, it's not great, but try not to ruin the paint so when I wrap the whole car, there's not gonna be any indentations or anything. So we'll do our best. Let's see how this goes. So I'm not going to be able to go past here because it comes in contact with my caliper. So I guess the caliper's coming off. Now if you can see in here, see how the lip is all kind of back now? It's rolled back. That's a fender roll. Probably pretty easy to see if this thing will focus. The stress cracks, trying to minimize that. But it's working better now. So we're gonna do the fender roll and then we're gonna do a fender pull, which will add that flare. Here's a stock one. See, there's nothing. It's just kind of 90. It looks like it rubbed there. Not a whole lot going on here. All right, so we rolled this fender, we pulled it a little bit. Kind of looks like ass. So I'm gonna do some reverse rolling here, try to go back a bit. The paint looks good. We did some heat action with the gun right there. So, I mean, that worked. It's obviously gonna crack a little bit when you get gnarly with it, but if you look at this line here, you can see how warpy that is? And the reason is, oh, I gotta get a headlight, 1 second. Oh, here it is. No, the reason is, see that little tab up in there? This guy here, yeah, it's a lot harder to roll that. You kind of ruin your line there. So you can either cut that tab and do a little bit more of a fender pull, like a more aggressive look, but I'm just gonna reverse roll it and see if I can get a consistent line here, because that is a lot more stiff of material than all the rest of the stuff. So I don't know, let's see how it goes. The idea is, it's really hard to see. So this section here, from line to line, needs to come out. And then that section there needs to go in. So that's how I'm gonna gauge this. And see if I can get this thing all right. Cause I mean, it's better, but ain't that good. So let's see. Now that line's a lot better. It doesn't look like ass. But this is still there, so it's holding the metal. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to go a little bit past where I want it to go. So when the metal flexes back, because it always wants to fight you, so you gotta go a little further and it'll try to go back a bit. Try to get this nice curve here. Because all I'm doing is stretching this metal, so don't want to stretch it too much, but it looks better. That's good. Look at that beauty right there. I have no other ideas on how to get this to work, so I wish I had the little clamps, you know what I'm talking about? Like I'll put it right here, but the clamps, like the pincher clamps used for welding and things, I don't have any of that stuff here, so I don't know. I got a safety zip tie so it doesn't hit me in the nuts. And then right here, and then I got 2 zip ties, 2 big dogs up there to get the force. So I'm gonna break them, I know, but I just gotta get this guy in just a hair, and then I think I'll be happy with this fender.
Wow.
All right, I think I'm done with this side. I think a little Bondo work before we wrap it will be okay, but it don't look bad. I mean, you can still see it. A little Bondo to fill in the holes here, I think it'll be nice.
Fight.
show you what I did. All I did was between those two tabs, that's where I rolled. You can see it. And that's where I'm gonna keep it for now. Because I want this thing to look as clean as possible. And if it doesn't rub, then I got no issues. So this is what it looks like on the outside. There's no warp whatsoever. And the way I did it is you have your little fender roller here, and then I put little marks. So marks there, this is a tab, and then marks here is another tab. I just went in between, used the heat gun, did a little bit back, forth, heat gun, back, forth, heat gun, just went slow. And you're still gonna get some paint cracking at least. I got just cracking, but when I wrap it, it's gonna look good. So, what did we learn? I guess we learned the biggest thing is those two tabs on either side of the fender. You know, these guys here, because obviously that fender's a little warped now. When I tried to get that consistent radius, it really kind of worked against me. So on the passenger side, I worked just in between the two tabs, bent the tabs up and back with my fingers, but the passenger side has that consistent radius I was looking for. So I guess that's the biggest thing I learned doing this. Pretty straightforward, easy job. I mean, I had to take off one caliper to try to get the whole radius there on this side, but it should be fine. I'm not worried about any other little ripples. Worst case, when I can't get those warps and those little flexes in the metal out on my own time, then just use a little Bondo. I mean, you don't tell, I won't tell, so I don't know, it'll look fine. And then when we wrap it, it'll look even better. So that's it really, easy job. Heat is all you really need, so basic heat gun. Yeah, that's kind of it. Just take your time. It's kind of what I learned. Like everything, take your time, go slow, heat, roll, and I would get it just hot enough where I can't touch it. And then I'd get my hand a little higher on that metal to make sure that it's not just the paint I'm warming up, it's actually the metal, make sure that heat spreads and is consistent. And yeah, just take your time. The paint cracks a little bit if you really roll it back in there. Then if you flare it, really heat that thing. Because I tried to flare this one, I wasn't really happy with it, so I stopped. It's basically not a flare. And then on the passenger side, I didn't really flare it at all. So that's it. Next, I think I'm planning on, we got hood, trunk. I gotta drill those puppies out and get them to fit on, I guess I'll use those standoffs. That's what you even call them for the latches. I'm gonna cut them all up, make them super light, and the hood has to fit the motor anyway. And then that's kind of the biggest step until next track day. So it's getting exciting. Let's get this thing going.